Now, how much do you know about your family history? It's been reported that more and more of us are taking home DNA tests in order to discover details about our pasts. And one pair who learnt a lot about themselves from DNA testing is the nation's second favourite duo, Ant and Dec.
Aha!
Oh, here we go. And we have traced your DNA into the deep past, and we've discovered that you carry a unique DNA marker called S660.
S660.
Dec, we have traced your DNA into the deep past, and we have discovered you also carry the DNA marker S660.
There's really only one way to share a DNA marker, like S660, and that's because you're related.
So we both got the DNA marker S660.
That's brilliant.
Oh, my God.
How weird is that?
How accurate are these
Amazing.
tests and how do they work? Family expert Russell James joins us now to shed a little light on this ever-growing craze of DNA testing. Welcome, Russell. Lovely to see you.
Welcome. Good to see you.
I watched both of the boys' shows and they were absolutely fascinating. What was interesting was how emotional they got, because finding a gravestone that you've gone past loads of times in your car and think, oh my God, we never saw that. It is quite tearing.
No, it is, and I agree with you. It was, I mean, you presumably know the guys. It felt like the emotions were really genuine. It felt like they went into it kind of expecting a bit of a laugh and some surprises, and as the shows went on, you could see it really meant something, didn't it? And I think it shows how family history does make you feel. You know, it's not just names and dates, it really does matter.
Well, you
to
feel like it was sort of destiny that they were meant to meet. Do you know what I mean? That partnership was meant to come together because all these years it's sort of in their DNA
Well, 'cause
that
they were Vikings.
Yeah. So how does it work then? Explain the sort of DNA testing kits that people are using.
Yeah, and that was the other thing about the show. Actually, it was a great example of how it does work for everybody. You know, it was very realistic. So we've got one here. Basically, how it works is you take one of these tubes and you spit into it. There's no nice way to put it. That is the truth of it. So you fill up to about this line.
With spit?
Yes, with saliva.
How much?
It's not quite as deep as it looks. The bottom's actually about here.
Oh,
so
OK.
It's a bit deceptive. But, yeah, so you need to get some saliva in there. Seal it up, and this blue liquid basically mixes in with your saliva and preserves the DNA.
Right.
So then you pop it into a box, send it back, goes to our labs, and we analyse it. And basically we're doing two things. We're looking at your DNA and comparing it to, it's now more than 15 million other samples in the database, looking at what you share with different people, what you share with different groups of people. And then the other thing is we're putting the family history information on the top of that, because what the DNA can show you is you have something in common with this person. Then we can look at family trees, family records, and go, why, how are you related, what do you have in common?
So if you were to do that then, pop it in the box and post it off, how long does this... I mean, that sounds relatively easy from my point of view. How long does that take to come back?
So we say 6 to 8 weeks. It can be a bit quicker than that. Obviously, better to be on the safe side. And then what happens is you get an email, click on there, and you go and see your results online. And the results are kind of two things, two main areas. There's the places from your past. So using our reference panels, we can say, OK, it looks like you have DNA from Germany, from Spain, perhaps from further afield than that, as well as, obviously, the English. The other thing we can do there is say whereabouts in England. That's the fantastic thing. As the science kind of develops, it gets more and more precise. And then the other area is the people. So as you saw with Ant and Dec, who are you related to from all over the world? How are you related, and how can you share your family tree?
So this goes hand in hand with genealogy, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So you've got the DNA testing, which is a sort of broader map, and then the genealogy is when you actually pinpoint names and dates.
Yeah, absolutely. The two absolutely work hand in hand, because, like I say, the DNA is a fantastic tool, either for getting started, because it can show you the kind of areas you should be looking in, it can introduce you to people who can help you get started. But then the records really provide the detail. You know, that's where you can get into how did your ancestors live, how much did they earn, what did they do for a living, whereabouts in the country were they, how much money did they have, you know, all these details that let you go beyond just lists, really to stories from the past.
But of course, the best way, if you have interest in your family history, is talking to living relatives.
And that is absolutely the way to get started. You know, the people close to you are the best place. You know, if you've got parents, grandparents that are still alive, really make use of that, get talking to them. And then, as we saw again on the show, if the DNA test can put you in touch with more relatives that are still alive, even better. Use
Yeah.
that.
It's funny, you go into any house, I mean, I know certainly with ours, there is a, you know, sort of half-completed list of names and things, and then it runs out and you can't fill that in, and, I don't know, and then she died, so she never told us who, you know, what was going on there. But a lot of that now, because we see that on long-lost families, you know, a lot of it's online.
Yeah. And so many people start it and go, I wish I'd started 10 years ago when my great aunt was still around, or when we still had this in the attic, or whatever. Like you say, so many people really, I would say, it is such a universal desire to know more about who you are and where you come from. It doesn't matter how old you are, it doesn't matter where you are. That is something that I think is inbuilt in all of us. And so, you know, rather than putting it off, it is something that really is worth doing.
There are people that sort of worry about this. They sort of think, oh, hang on a minute, I'm sending my DNA off to somebody. They're going to be shared out there to all sorts of different people. I'm going to find out I've got some medical condition I don't want to know about. There sort of are pitfalls here that concern people.
Yeah, and I think, you know, privacy is obviously really, really important. And it's very straightforward. We don't share the data with anybody at all. So actually people can have a lot of confidence in that.
Right,
Okay.
lovely. Well, thank you very much
Thank you.
indeed.
Fascinating.
We did it ages and ages ago, didn't we?
I
Spat in it,
know.
and somewhere down the line it got lost.
This was years ago, so it's
Yeah.
floating around somewhere.
I think someone somewhere's made a you and a me.
I wish they would.
Yeah.
Then I could have a lion. Right.